The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Yankees Week in Review. Listen in throughout the baseball season as we will go over the week that was for the New York Yankees. We'll talk about what went right, what went wrong this week, this day in Yankees history, Yankees birthdays, and predictions of what the Bronx Bombers record will be at the end of the upcoming week. It's 1420 Yankees Week in Review, the Yankee Tavern North, brought to you by SeatGeek. So put on your pinstripes, grab a beer, and let's get in.
All right, Saturday morning down the Yankee Tavern North here in Lethbridge, Alberta. Yankee game's on. They're up 1-0 currently in the third inning, but that doesn't much matter a whole bunch right now. But anyways, thank you very much for today's show. Is brought to you, as always, by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other great podcasts such as No Credits Required and the my guys over at Craft Brewed Sports. Going to catch up on a few of those shows probably tomorrow, long weekend. Hey, one of those things. It's good. And to make sure you check out Cigar and Sports last night. E-Man and our main man Jim from the Fan of the Van. They had some guests on from the Cigar Clowns Cigar Company. Great show, great conversation they had last night. Check that out this morning. Make sure you check that out. And on I guess it's on Monday morning, Labor Day, bright and early for me. A little bit later in the day because Jim's on the East Coast. Jim and I are going to be doing a live show 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings. So me and Jim are going to talk some sports, talk some Yankees baseball. A long time since me and Jim have had a conversation. Last night watching the Yankee game, the big thing was Juan Soto was getting the Friday night in the Bronx. Juan Soto was getting the re-signed Soto chance and everything else that was happening. And it was just one of those situations where you had Judge smiling, you had Soto smile like a couple of kids who just stole something and got away with it and they're getting in trouble. And then they smirked on the side of their mouths and were talking about what might happen and what might go on. And it seems like Soto is the shiny new toy. There's no getting around that in the Bronx. He's a shiny new toy, 25 years old. He's up for free agency after this season, so he'll be 26. So the young guy to be a free agent, been in the league for 7 years so far. He's having a great year in the Bronx. There's no getting around that. He's helped Aaron Judge to see some more pitches because he does get on base quite a bit. He is a penchant to draw walks quite often. Soto's a very good player, and on it goes. And the people in the Bronx really like him. He seems to like playing there, and you just wonder if that's going to be enough to make him want to re-sign with the New York Yankees in the offseason, because he's going to be a free agent. He's going to demand a big payday. You remember he came over from San Diego, but he first got traded from his first team with the Washington Nationals. He got a 15-year offer, $420 million, so $28 million a year. And this is two and a half years ago. He got that offer, and he said, "No, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to see what we can get to in free agents after the 2024 season." Lo and behold, we're here. I don't know if San Diego, what kind of offer they gave him last season when he was going to leave there. So they ended up trading him to the Yankees in the offseason, and that's where we are now. And everybody seems to think that Soto's it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to go to free agency and everything else. He's going to test the waters because Scott Boras is his agent, and Boras has been known to try to get the most bang for their buck, and he does get a lot. He has done well for his clients over the years. So you can't see them not testing free agency. You can't see them not seeing something getting done, especially this late in the season, obviously. But you just wonder. You just wonder if the Yankees have done enough so far this season to make him want to stay. And then you wonder if the Yankees can somehow fall into a World Series championship. But I have my doubts, even though I have the best record in the American League and on it goes. I still have my doubts with the bullpen, with the closer. We talked about that last week a little bit. But I just have my doubts that this Yankee team has what it takes to win themselves a World Championship, especially where the Houston Astros are lighting things up right now. But I don't want to talk about them a whole bunch. The one thing that I worry about a guy like Soto is that he's having a banner year this year with the Yankees. He's going to put up 40 home runs for the first time in his career, but he's seen a lot more pitches this year because of the monster hitting behind him and Aaron Judge. And Judge is obviously on a bit of he's slowed down a little bit. He's only at 51 home runs. He's on pace for 61 to tie the record, but Soto's seen a lot more pitches to hit, and he's at 37 home runs right now. But the guy's only hit 300 twice in his career. He's never hit 40. So I'm a bit concerned that he's going to, because he's a shiny new toy, and because he is young, and because there's only X amount of superstars that are out going to be on the free agent market in the next few years, you just wonder, is it just one of those things he's falling into a pool of warm butter where his butt won't get hurt because he's that guy right now who's going to get a big dollar because where he's standing in the free agent market. There's rumors about that he's going to get $50 million. There's rumors about that if somebody offers him 50, that the Mets and Steve Cohen are going to offer him 60. I think that's an awfully big number for a guy who's never hit 40 home runs. The only reason why he's going to hit 40 home runs this year is the benefit of, like I said, hitting in front of Aaron Judge and then playing with the short porch out in right field. At Yankee Stadium. I don't know if I would pay a guy $60 million when he won't ever be the best player on his team. I don't know if he'll ever be until Judge retires or calls her good. I don't know if he'll ever be the best defender on his team. He won't be the best hitter on his team. And so how do you justify paying a guy $50-60 million, or whatever it might be, with the Yankees, that he won't be the biggest offensive threat on his team until the big man retires, until the big man calls her quits. Yes, Judge eventually will slow down, but Judge is also in the prime of his career right now too. So you're 3, 4, 5 years away from having Judge as not the guy that everybody knows him to be. And so if you're paying Soto $10 to $15, $20 million more than you're paying Judge, that's a bad look, and I don't know how wise an investment that really is. And the Yankees have a lot of money, but I know that Steinbrenner, Hal, has the same genetics, I guess, as his father George, but they're not cut from the same cloth. And you're going to see that the Yankees aren't going to go in that $60 million range. Seems pretty rich. You're already spending a lot on Stanton. He's got 2 more years, I think he left. They're spending a lot on Cole. He's got $36 million coming to him every year for the next 4 or 5 years from the Yankees. Then you have Judge, obviously, until 2030, I think 33 or whatever it is, or 31. It doesn't matter at his $40 million a year. So going out and giving Soto, a guy that's only hit 300 once, like I said, only hit 40. He's never hit 40 home runs. Going out and giving a guy like Soto that kind of money at the age of 26, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think it's a bit of a gamble to jump in that kind of money. Yeah, like you look at what Ohtani got, and Ohtani's at 43 right now. Like I remember when Jose Canseco got that 40-40. We all know Canseco and the juice and everything else and blah blah blah. But what Ohtani's doing at $70 million. And he didn't pitch this year, obviously, and it's on and on it goes. But is Soto only $10 million a year less of a player than Ohtani? No, because you can market Ohtani like a madman. And that's what LA has done with him. And he was never going to Toronto. I don't know if that, remember that happened last offseason. But you have Ohtani's at $70 million, and he set the bar, and it's all deferred money, and we all know that whole story. But I don't know if Soto is a $60 million guy. I don't know if Soto is a $50 million guy. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of dough for the Yankees to think that they're going to have to fess up to and have to give away, not give away, but he's going to earn his money, obviously. But that to pay 3 guys 130, 140 million bucks, that's a lot of dough that you could spend elsewhere. And there's only 2 or 3 teams out there that might be willing to give that kind of money to a guy like Soto. Like I said earlier, the Mets might want to do it. You might see a team like there's the Yankees just gave one up to there it is, the short porch out in right field goes. That was a bleeder of a home run, but 1-1 Yankees Cardinals. But you see a guy like Soto's benefiting a lot from playing in New York, and you just wonder what kind of it's not a hometown discount, but it's a current team discount. If the Yankees can fall into one, will he take a $40 million deal? Because if he can hitch his wagon to Judge, and that's what it is, he's hitching his wagon to Judge for the next 4 to 5 years, and he can put up some pretty big numbers. And if they can fall into a World Series or two, he might have a thing where, you know what, I'll stick around here. because there's not many guys there and not many ballparks that he could play in that would benefit. And there's not many teams that's going to want to give him that kind of money. A lot of teams that he's just going to price himself out at what he's doing. So how many teams? Handful, 4 or 5. The Phillies don't need him. You maybe go to Houston because they're going to have some money freed up and on it goes. But you just don't know what Soto's mindset is and what Scott Boras' agent's mindset and how it's all going to play out. I just don't know if the Yankees are going to want to. They're not going to get into a bidding war with the Mets. They're going to say, okay, if you want to get 60, if you're going to give you 60, take it, because we're not going to give you that. We have other guys we got to pay. We have other things we can do. We just don't. We're not going to do that. I'm not George. I'm not George Steinbrenner. I'm Hal Steinbrenner. I'm just not going to go and do that. We have the same genetics. We're the same DNA. If that makes any sense. So I just don't know if the fans and everything else, and if the only way I think they keep Soto, and I'm a full firm believer that you can't pay him more than Judge. I know inflation and everything else is going to change in the next 4 to 5 years, and you're getting him at a bargain probably compared to what guys are going to make in 5 to 6 or 7 years. But how many guys are going to be better than Soto or Ohtani in the next 4 to 5 years? Okay, it's just not going to happen. I don't think you can just keep spending and hoping and hoping. It's been what? It's been 15 years since the Yankees won a World Series, and they're paying Soto how much this year already? I don't know if they can just keep dropping money. Like how many billions of dollars they spent and not won anything. Like eventually that has to kind of go away. You look at, we said it before on this show. How many times does Steinbrenner look at Cashman and say, these guys are spending 80 million, 100 million, 120 million, whatever it might be, and they're going to the playoffs and they're having a better run than we are. I'm not giving a guy 50 to 60 million bucks to not win. What's the point? What's the use of that? So I just can't see the Yankees being, I don't want to go as far as saying disloyal to Judge, but it's kind of like, I know Judge would like him around, obviously makes their team better. And I'm not saying that having Soto on your team isn't going to make it better. What I'm saying is you have to eventually become fiscally responsible, not just to yourself, your fans, but for the rest of your team. And you can't just drop money at every shiny new toy that drops in and just hope that it works. I would love to have Soto as a Yankee forever, but at what cost? You can't go to 50 and 60 million bucks a year. That's a lot of bank for 3 guys, because whatever shortcomings that they might have this year, it isn't because they aren't scoring runs. And so, yes, Soto is a benefactor of everything else, and Soto has helped out with everything there. But eventually, you got to get some pitching. Eventually, you got to get some relief pitching that's going to stop everything from going the way it's been going for the last how many years with the Yankees. And they just got thrown out. Guy got thrown at home plate, so Yankees still are at 1-1. But it turned 4-1. Jesus. Turn my head for 5 seconds to talk to you guys. Look what happens. And then it's just you just wonder if at what cost to the Yankees and to the future is it going to be, because eventually you just run out of money. Eventually you just run it you just run out, and you can't just keep buying everything that it's not like back when his dad was doing it. These guys weren't making 40-50 million bucks a year. Yeah, it's overspent for a lot of guys, but I just don't know if they can possibly go out and do that kind of money. If they win, maybe Soto will want to stay, because there's your legacy is winning. Like when I was on with Lou Gamlin on the Captain Luke Extravaganza last week, Judge is going to be an all-time great, but he's an all-time great Yankee? Probably not yet. He hasn't won anything. He's got great numbers, everything else, but until you win something, especially in New York and these places, you got to win something. And yeah, your bank account's full and your life is set, and your kids' life is set and everything else. But eventually, what's money? I'm not going to say no to it. I'm not going to, but I just wonder, once you have a bank account full of money, you got to think you got to win a little bit, and you want to win a little bit. These individualistic skills, maybe that's just the mindset that we've talked about before, that maybe winning isn't everything anymore to a lot of these guys. When they get to that top level, I think it is. But when guys are on just mid-level teams, they don't care. I honestly think that they just play and they get their paychecks and they go home. And when you know you don't have a chance of winning a playoff round or even making the playoffs, let alone a world championship, I think they just play, they get their paycheck and go home. It's going to be interesting to see if Soto does stick around. If winning matters to him, you think that he would stay there? Because like I said earlier, there's only X amount of teams that really, really have a shot at doing something, at signing him and spending that kind of money. And I just don't know if You want to go to $60 million and alienate your superstar for years to come in Aaron Judge. You remember when they went and got Judge and Steinbrenner had to make that phone call because Cashman was kind of blowing the deal and everybody thought he was going to San Francisco. So like Judge is still the face of your franchise. And if Soto can hitch his wagon to the Judge train like the rest of these guys are, it probably wouldn't be the worst decision ever, because that big boy's got to hit some more home runs next few years, and they have a chance to win some world championships. But you gotta be fiscally responsible. You can't just drop $60 million every shiny new toy that shows up. And if it gets to 60, if I was the Yankees, I would back out, because he's never going to be your best defender. He's never going to be your best hitter, and he's never going to be your fastest guy. That's his fact. That's his fact. And he doesn't pitch. So what's $60 million get you? Apparently not very much anymore. Great player, absolutely. $60 million worth of player, not a chance. Not a chance. I'd stick, once it gets to even 45, I step away. Give him 10 at 45, call it good. Call it good. This is what we're giving you. You're not undercutting. We're not asking for a hometown discount. 10 at 45 still pretty good dough. If it gets to 50 and 60, I say, yeah, thanks, bye, see ya. If you can get it down the street in Flushing, Queens with the Mets, go ahead and do it, because we're not doing it. We're just not doing it. It's not an open checkbook just with the Yankees anymore. They have to figure a way to win a championship. Soto gives them a better chance to win something, but eventually you got to say, you know what, we're out. We're out on this. We can't sign everybody. They didn't even really try for Ohtani last year. Like, it just got out of their price range. It's just it's gonna be interesting to see if they do win, what it all comes about. I hope he's a Yankee forever. He seems to like it in the Bronx. He likes it with the bleacher creatures behind him. There's a re-signed Soto. It's been a great thing. And like I said earlier, Judge and him conversing and laughing and joking about him sticking around, and Judge wants him to stick around because they benefit from each other. So I hope he sticks around, but we'll see how it goes. There's my thoughts on the Yankees and the Juan Soto situation. Remember, guys, thank you to SeatGeek very much for supporting the 1420 Sports Bar podcast for Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more. Make sure you use promo code 1420POD over there at SeatGeek.com today.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least consulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.
$14.20 Sports Bar Podcast, Yankees Week in Review, brought to you by SeatGeek. As always, use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today. Now, let's do this. On this day in 1997, the New York Yankees retired Don Mattingly's number 23 after Donnie Baseball's 14 years with the Yankees. Mattingly hit .307 over the course of his career, which included the 1986 season that saw Mattingly hit an astounding .352, which was a career high. He was a six-time All-Star, nine-time Gold Glover, and the American League MVP in 1985, and a season saw him hit .324 with 145 RBIs, 48 doubles, both league highs, and he popped in 35 home runs for the Yankees. Overall, in his what I think should be a Hall of Fame career, Mattingly played 14 Major League seasons, all with the Yankees, hitting .307, 1,099 RBIs, 222 home runs, and what was some pretty bad Yankee teams back in the 80s. On this day, Donnie Baseball was forever enshrined at Yankee Stadium with a lot of greats when he had his number 23 retired. Donnie Baseball, one of the all-time greats, no getting around that in Yankee land. Played in some bad teams, but he had a good run, and you see him play third base once. He had a run of grand slams there in the 80s too. Every night he was hitting another grand slam. And there was one cool video of him eating popcorn at the old Yankee Stadium, stealing it out of a kid's box. Having a pretty good career as a manager, lifelong baseball guy. Just one of those guys. He's one of the good ones. It's Donnie Baseball, number 23. Never got a chance to be on one of those great Yankee teams that put the dynasty together. Because he retired after the 95 season before they started going that run in 96. Just his body just gave out on him and everything else. But he played the game the right way, and he seemed to be he's a grinder. There's no getting around that. So on this day in 1997, Donnie Baseball got his jersey retired, number 23, and got put in Monument Park and the whole bit. So there's the Yankee show for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, we've had some great numbers on the podcast as of late. So thank you very much since we've been back at her in the 1st of August there. August 7th or 8th or 9th, whatever day it was. But we've had some very good numbers, lots of some of our biggest numbers actually in a couple of years. So that's very positive. Thank you very much for everybody who listens to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Remember, Monday morning, Labor Day, wake up. If you're out here in the Mountain Time Zone or out in Pacific Time Zone, make sure you tune in on YouTube or Facebook, wherever. But on YouTube, we greatly appreciate if you subscribe to that. But 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, me and Jim, the fan of the van, are going to talk some Yankee baseball, get up some shenanigans. I don't know how if we maybe have some Baileys in the coffee. We won't be drinking any beers, but look forward to talking with Jim as always. Yankees got a pretty good stretch right now. They should win a bunch of games. They got the Cardinals. They're probably going to lose. Well, I shouldn't say they're going to lose this one. They're down 4-1. But then they go to Texas, who's had a off year considering the World Series championship last year. And then they got a series with the Cubs. The Cubs are pretty much just fighting for playoff lives. But so it's a run right now. The Yankees should be able to put a few together and maybe get themselves a division. They're pretty much in the playoffs the way it's all working out. And so it should be interesting to see if they can put together a stretch of wins and keep that American League East title and see if they can win themselves a pennant and set themselves up for the playoffs, stay healthy and everything else. But that's for next week. We'll talk about the Yankees, but you expect them in the playoffs. Thank you very much for watching today on the show. We appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy Saturdays, Labor Day weekend. Go out and enjoy yourselves. Remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. And remember, smart people bunt. Have a good night. Good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.